Hello everyone, welcome to Programmer, the show where we sit down with everyday software engineers and talk about how they think, work and build. I'm your host Nazir, and today we are digging into something every job seeker and freelancer runs into sooner or later: how to actually make LinkedIn work for you. This one meant to be practical, so by the end, you should walk away with things you can go change on your own profile today, whether you are job hunting or freelancing. Today's guest is Alfon, a LinkedIn consultant and strategist with 20 years of experience on the platform and the author of How to Build a LinkedIn Profile for Business Success. Daniel, thanks for joining me. How are you doing today?
Nazib, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be part of Programmer.
You mentioned that you have been working with LinkedIn strategy for about 20 years now. Well, before most people took the platform seriously, what got you started and what made you decide to specialize in it?
What got me started was pure curiosity. Imagine, Nazib, if that person is on that platform, even though I have no idea about it, I need to check it out. And a couple of years later, I was in a sales position and LinkedIn helped me slash my sales cycle by a third, simply by showing me exactly the right person within the organization I needed to reach out to, instead of spending hours and moving from one person to another. And that's probably the moment I decided to see what's under the hood and to start specializing. And since we started this Programmer chat, 100 people have joined LinkedIn. Every second, Nazib, 3 people sign up.
That's a lot when we consider 3%, even though it's a second. So the second it becomes 6, and the next second will become 9. I think that's a lot. Before we go into main conversation, there is a bit of a note. We usually kick things off with Geek Tech, but Daniel's world is LinkedIn strategy, networking and sales, and not coding. So we are going to skip it and get straight into the main conversation. Let's start the main conversation. I recently subscribed to LinkedIn Premium for my own job opportunity assessment. It's to understand what actually makes a profile stand out to recruiter versus what's just noise, and also just to check the job market. I want to start there. From your 20 years on the platform, what's the biggest misconception people have about what makes a LinkedIn profile good?
The LinkedIn algorithm decide if Nazib's profile is good or not. I beg to differ. I'll suggest a very simple test. If you're a job seeker, a talent, then the judgment that matters is the next hiring manager you'd like to work with. This should be your ideal reader. And you build your profile based on 2 simple questions. Who is your ideal reader? And 2, Nazib, what action, if we could make those R&D managers visit your profile when you're looking for a new job, what action would you like them to perform after they discover you? And most people, most engineers, most software developers would say reach out and schedule an interview. Just 30 seconds about the freelancers, same logic. Who's the hiring manager that could bring you into the company? And what action would you like them to accomplish? You would like them to reach out to you, and maybe instead of a technical interview, it would be a proposal or a discussion, but the same thing. You want them to speak with you. How do you provide the right information in the right time for the right audience so they find you? What they see upfront within the first 5 seconds make them think it's worth their time scrolling once. It's the harshest test. If I run a search for a full stack programmer in this metro area and I find 500 people and I check you out, every second I spend on your profile, my brain is going, but there are 499 out there. So you need to make it crystal clear why you. We can go later into the banner, the headline, what you write, keywords, all stuff. But the simple test is your ideal reader. When they bump into you, how likely are they to find you? Have you managed to weave the right keywords? Do they understand immediately why it's worth their time scrolling down and reading? And is it easy for them to decide that your skill set is appropriate for what they're specifically looking for? And is it simple to message you? Everything I said was very simple, but there are lots of obstacles. Not many people can find you. Not many people can message you. Maybe you have not used the right keywords. So the test is the ideal reader test. How likely are those people to find you and to want to reach out to you?
Actually, this already goes into my next question. In your opinion, what separates a LinkedIn profile that get found? You did mention that it's about keywords, the headline. So question would be, is it mostly about the how recruiters search using keywords, headline, skills action, or it's more about what happened once the person actually opens the profile, or he just skim through all this listing when he search something?
If you want to be found, then both sides are important. Unless we find you, it doesn't matter that your profile is ideal. You want us to find you. But if we find you and we say, nah, we move on, then we haven't been that successful. So let's treat both sides. If I'm a full stack developer, what I would do is use whatever AI tool you'd like. You can use Perplexity, you can use Gemini, you can use ChatGPT, whatever you like, and enter a simple prompt. List 50 keywords for a senior full stack developer in Malaysia. Or list 50 keywords for junior backend developers in whatever your location is and your level of seniority or the number of years you program. And you will get a list. If you want to be even stronger than that, you go to LinkedIn, the job section on LinkedIn, or to Glassdoor or any local job board you like, and you enter the specific title you're looking for and you analyze the keywords. And the simplest way to do it would be to run a job search for, say, full stack developer. And when you run a search, you go directly to the responsibilities and qualification. And when you see the qualifications, you look for terms that are general, not just for that company. So you would see microservices, you would see React, you would see maybe legacy, maybe you'll find high scale, maybe you'll find REST, maybe you'll find API design, Docker, whatever, CI/CD. You add those keywords. So we're up to now, all you have is a bank of words. That was part number one. Part number two, Nazib, you go to your own profile. So far, we haven't looked at your profile. We just try to find the words out there. My assumption is that you have many of those words, but it's very rare that you have all the words. If you found 50 words, maybe you have 20, 30, 40. There would still be a couple of words, a couple of terms that you'd like people to find you and are not anywhere on your profile. So you identify, you go to your profile on desktop, you click on show more, and once you open everything, it's not related to LinkedIn. If you use Chrome, Control F, and you enter the first term. The first term would be full stack developer. You should find it. If you're looking for a full stack developer position and the words are not on your profile, where we have a serious problem. But now, Nazib, you move to term number 2 and term number 3. At one point, you look at it and you'll say, CI/CD is very important, but I haven't written CI/CD anywhere on my profile. And now is the most important part. Where is the most logical place you could use the term CI/CD? Where have you developed with continuous integration, continuous development? Maybe it's the current position, maybe it's the one 3 years ago, maybe it's a course you took at university or elsewhere. You don't want to use the term at the wrong section, because if you try to place it by force in the current position, but you haven't developed with CI/CD systems in the current position, so I will ask you come to interview. So tell me about what you're doing. Please elaborate on CI/CD. That's a real problem. The most important thing to remember is that whenever someone runs a search, wherever LinkedIn finds the term, you will come up. So even if it's a position you held 5 years ago and CI/CD is most logically placed there, my advice would be to put it there. So stage number 1, identify 50 keywords, see which ones are present somewhere on your profile and which ones are not. And you have a shorter list, maybe 5 terms, maybe 10 terms. Now you ask yourself, what is the most important term I need to place in my profile? And where is the most logical place to add that term? Lastly, sometimes there's more than one way to write the term. So most people would write CI/CD, but if someone will actually look for continuous integration or a QA and quality assurance, or SW and software, or SR and senior, there are lots of acronyms and short ways to write stuff. What you usually want is both ways spelled somewhere on your profile. So you would put CI/CD, say, in the position before last, but somewhere else you would write the whole term. Or you would use SW with the current position, and you would use the term software elsewhere. It doesn't matter that you only use SW. If recruiters would enter the word software, I assume you want to be found. Stage 1, identify the right keywords. Stage 2, make sure the ones that are important and not present in your profile, weave them naturally into your profile. You can do it if you're a full stack developer, if you're a backend engineer, if you're an automation engineer. Find the right keywords, see which ones are not, and add them to your profile. We want people to find you in page 1. Right now, maybe they find you in page 5 or in page 50. Every small step would push you closer to page 1. And then your profile needs to improve it. First, let someone find you.
I think this is a very great advice. I also think that your advice need to be done occasionally or in a certain period of time, because these keywords and terms might be outdated and might new terms coming in. How long would you suggest we redo this?
Is a field that is very, very dynamic. I think it makes sense to look at your profile every 3 months and do a whole makeover once a year, because you don't have to do this exercise every week. It doesn't make sense. It only makes sense if you've worked for one company for 7 years and now you're entering the job market. So yes, it could be that you'll do it extensively, but once this has been aligned, then once a quarter should be enough. And what will happen, Azib, in 3 months' time is that you'll find another AI term in the job description. Let's tackle the harder case. You can't use the term because you haven't worked with that system. You haven't used that tool. There's a garbage section on our LinkedIn profile called, you know it, skills. The bar is very low. The question is, do you know to spell the term? That's it. So you go to the skills section, you can put up to 100 words and you enter the term there. You don't push it in the current position. If I think you've been dishonest, you will not continue. So use the skills section, and I think it makes sense to at least invest in a course. Start by YouTube, invest 5 hours to learn more about it. You'll feel more confident with that term somewhere on your profile. If it's very important and your company isn't doing this because you want to move to SaaS, but you're not into SaaS, then maybe go to and find a Udemy, maybe volunteer in a project, help a friend, do something that will help you have not just the term somewhere on your profile, but actually you would know the basics of it. So every 3 months, check it out and see what you'd like to add. And every year, make a calendar note to yourself and reread your old profile and maybe change it from the ground up. This is much easier than entering the market in 2 years and then trying to improve it slower. It takes less time if you do it on a consistent basis. You don't have to revamp everything, but if you touch it every couple of months, you'll be ready to go when you need.
That's true. I think most people only update their LinkedIn profile or any profile when they want to enter the job market. I think that would be very late, and they also need to do a lot of things instead of just updating a few things, make sure everything is up to date, stuff like that. Yeah. Just now you mentioned about using AI. With more people leaning on AI to write their about section or their posts, is there a point where too polished AI written profiles start working against you? Because I remember LinkedIn start to hack an AI post as an AI slop, if I'm not mistaken, recently. Is too much of AI ruin your profile, or what do you suggest? How do you balance it?
When you see a post, there's a new button saying AI slop. I suspect this to be an AI slop. Simplest way to look at it, you have a real life personality. You don't have Nazib to invent a personality just for the sake of LinkedIn, because it doesn't make sense. If you're an introvert and I've worked with you and I know that you're shy and we just connected on LinkedIn and I see that you're sharing about public speaking and stages and extreme sports, I will look at it and I'll say, this is not Nazib. This is not his style. And when there's a gap between your real life personality and what you try to achieve by posting or showing something else, it makes people doubt you, your authenticity, your skills. Only because you try to become someone else, you have to be you. If you're trying to appear to be someone else, then Azib, you would attract the wrong sort of people and you would repel the people you want to speak with you. So it works against you. You can't be someone else for life. You don't have to. There are managers, there are companies who are interested in you just like you are. If you're trying to appeal to too many people, at the end, I'm afraid you'd be losing a lot.
I think this is not just LinkedIn. This is your online persona or digital persona that you are maintaining. Be honest and not try to actually fake out of you. For example, you do something that you are not. You go to somewhere that you are not going. And then it's just starting the domino effect to things that you might not like. Let's go to the next one, which is ghost job. There's a lot of talk about ghost job or ghost posting that still live long after they are filled or never get filled at all. Does that make LinkedIn less reliable place to actually find a job opportunity, and how should job seeker work around it?
but the percentage of ghost job is rising, especially when the economy is bad. And why is that? Because when the economy is bad, many companies decide that posting fake job description would earn them some PR coins. It would show the employees that we're alive. The phrasing would be, we are growing. It would show our investors. It would show our customers. It would show our design partners. It would show the world that we're still there. And two quick things I would mention is that in many cases, like you rightly said, it wasn't a fake job, but we still see the job once it has been filled. In other words, 2 months ago, the company advertised the job. It was a real job. But 6 weeks ago, the hiring manager decided that Nazib, you would take the position. And 3 weeks ago, you started working there. But no one took the time to ask within the company, don't we have to remove this full stack developer position? Because it doesn't bother anyone. The hiring manager gets nothing from anyone who's applying. So a week ago or a month ago, the company should have, in an ideal world, stopped or discontinued the job posting, but it's still out there, and we think that we'll be interviewed and we will not be interviewed. The second quick point I'd like to mention is related to something you said earlier. You said it wasn't only about LinkedIn. You said it was more general. Networking for your career, I'm sorry to say it, it's more important than what you know. Don't get me wrong, it's important what you know. But if you took this capsule and you listen to it in 5 years' time and you thought, how did I develop in 2026 and what am I doing now with AI in 2031? Or you'll ask one of your agents, what has Nazib done then? There is a whole difference. Networking becomes more and more important because if you network, then people will tell you, Nazib, this company is now buying another entity, another company, and they will look for VP R&D in 3 months' time. Is this something you could be interested in? Maybe you'll say, no, I'm fine. Maybe you'll say, yes, I want. And this is ideal because instead of applying to a position and hoping and praying that you'll get a call, you actually specify the job description itself. You have a seat at the table and you can negotiate how the position would look and when would you start and would it be called VP R&D or something else, all because someone told you in 3 months' time we need someone with your skill set. So invest in your networking. It's very important. And if you don't invest in your networking, you need to work harder. Don't make that mistake.
This is perfect. Of course, software engineers try to land freelance clients or do networking in general, right? Directly through LinkedIn instead of just a marketplace on an app or like social apps or something like that. How does effective outreach actually looks like? What do software engineers, whether they are shy or they are not, do cool messages, use email if I'm not mistaken, the name and content or something else entirely? How do effectively network in LinkedIn?
Going back to how your profile looks, you have a strong and impressive GitHub project or a personal website of yours, feature it in your LinkedIn profile. It takes 40 seconds and it makes a whole difference because when I find you and I see that you're active on GitHub or that you have a personal website I can look into, it makes more people stay on your profile and there's a better chance of them deciding they want to reach out to you and schedule a call or an interview or something else. And the second aspect, just like there's software lifecycle, there's also a job lifecycle. What do I mean by that? Imagine I'm the VP R&D and you're looking for team lead position as a full stack developer. And this morning, Nazib, my best team leader, just announced that he's quitting the company. What will happen now, once I understand there's no way for me to keep him in the company, is that I will scan my short-term memory here. Do I know someone who could step into his shoes? It's good. If I think of you, I'll just tell you, Nazib, John is quitting. Would you like us to chat? There's no job description at all. And maybe this is 20% of the market. The only people who knew about it was the talented team leader who announced they would leave, the hiring manager, and maybe 1 or 2 very close people to either. If that doesn't work, then 1 week later, if I speak with you, I'll tell you I'm looking for a team lead. Maybe I would even suggest it to you. Maybe you're an automation expert. Maybe you're a customer success, but I trust your judgment. And if you tell me, you know what, maybe that person, I will check them out. And if I haven't filled that position, then someone from headquarters or HR would speak with me and say, okay, Daniel, so I understand you're looking for a team lead. Tell me what you're looking for. And 10 minutes later, Nazib will have a job description that will make Marvel superheroes blush. There is a tool that's been on the market for 2 weeks, and I can specify I want experience in that. and I basically can do anything I want. Because the moment the job description has been written, it's very easy for the company to share it on Glassdoor, LinkedIn, whatever they like, which means there are hundreds of or thousands of applicants within hours or days. So the job description is like the butterfly. We all love butterflies, they're beautiful, but the trouble is everyone can see the butterfly. What was the butterfly before it became a butterfly? It was chrysalis. This is the stage we want. So we try to identify the ideal position, the ideal companies we'd like to work for, regardless of jobs they advertise or not. We try to identify by name the name of the hiring manager we're likely to report to. This is where LinkedIn excels. Many of the people I work with are amazed by the way they can run an advanced search and exactly find the right person, just like I did way when I was in sales. And then see if you can find a sponsor that knows both of you that can make the introduction. And the introduction would go something like, I know someone called Nazib who's a great full stack team lead with a lot of experience in full stack. Would it make sense for you to speak, for me to make the introduction? And if the hiring manager started looking for someone with your skill set, they would try to say, let's see, maybe that could be it. Let's chat. The earlier you speak with the company, the better your chances are. Maybe Nazib will be 3 other candidates, but I assume you'd prefer 3 other candidates and not 3,000 other candidates 2 weeks down the road. So network before the job description has been advertised, because the job description itself is basically, it means it's too late. It's a butterfly. Everyone will try to chase it. We're looking at it at the end of the road. We hope to get it there, but we'll never get there.
Understand. This goes into my next question. I think my final question is that while you mentioned about how important the network before the job post or job description is being made, utilizing LinkedIn as a networking platform. So my question would be, if a software engineer had 30 minutes a week to spend on LinkedIn, what the one thing that you tell them to do with that time? So previously, when I subscribed to LinkedIn Premium, I tried to find best way I utilize my LinkedIn Premium. Some of them are try to comment to posts often, just put your opinion, and then if there is anything interesting, probably just text them, message them, and lastly, probably if there is any events, it's just simply react to that post. That will consider something will be very helpful, building a great profile on LinkedIn. So what is your suggestion and recommendation for software engineer to improve their LinkedIn profile?
I would advise you, once you set up your profile, okay, this is like the infrastructure. You don't have to do it every day. Once your profile rocks, you can move to the next day. If you have 10 minutes, visit the notifications tab on LinkedIn and see what your network is up to. You could see that someone you're connected with has updated their profile saying they started work for a new company. This would be a great opportunity for you to chat, but instead of sending the cookie cutter congrats, that person maybe have seen 45 congrats and you're number 46, take the road less traveled. First, visit their profile, scroll down to see when have they actually started working for the company. Because the fact they updated their profile this morning does not necessarily mean they just started this morning. And if they started last year, you would not write congrats. Does it make sense? You would say, how are you? I see you've updated your profile and you've worked for that company for a whole year. Are you looking for something else? Or something along those lines. And the biggest secret is when to leave the LinkedIn platform. LinkedIn showed me that you started a new position. Leave the LinkedIn platform, switch to email, switch to WhatsApp, switch to a call, suggest beer, coffee if we're in the same area. Actually speak with that person and strengthen your relationship when you don't need anything from them. No one likes it when you only remember them when you need them. So this is one quick way to do it. And the second quick way, sending a happy birthday, leave the LinkedIn platform, see what they're up to, ask how they've been, see if you can help them, send them a blog, something that would be interesting for them. And it makes more sense to spend 10 minutes a week than binge LinkedIn for days and days when you job hunting and then forget about the platform for 6 months or for 2 years. Because if your birthday is on May 4th, it doesn't make sense for me to wish you happy birthday in January, does it? You don't have to work harder, just make those minutes count.
That is our session today. We will wrap up. Where should people find you online? Where should they go? How do they communicate with you? And is there any upcoming event?
My website is danielalfon.com, and the best thing to do would be to schedule a one-on-one call after you check the website. And if what I suggest makes sense, then jump on a call. I don't have any promotion or any events. There's a summit I may speak on, but I'm not sure it would be a good fit. It's not exactly about programming. And I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you again, Daniel, for the conversation. For listener, if you enjoyed this episode, please follow the show and share it with someone who get value from it. Catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.